One of the things that is very reassuring to me about this situation now is that he's got not only the mandate from the Electoral College, but the popular vote. He's got the Senate. As we're recording this, we don't know what the situation with the House is. He could have all three.
He'll have, by the time this airs, he will have the House. We'll know by the weekend. And I think he'll have a slim majority.
Well, let's say he has all of that. And on top of that, this was the election when the media dominance of the conversation ended. So he doesn't have to give a shit anymore.
Yeah.
He's not running for re-election, number one. But more than that, he doesn't have to give a shit what the New York Times think. And so
he still cares, though. Isn't that cute? He wants to be loved by everybody. And I tell people, I said, you're not going to have Donald Trump. Don't worry about Donald Trump coming over to your house for tea. He's not going to come over for crumpets or whatever you Englishmen eat. He's not going to come for your bar mitzvah, your kid's bar mitzvah. He's not coming for the Thanksgiving dinner. He is going to be like the plumber. You know, when everything, the pipes are breaking and everything, you're not going to do it. Somebody's going to do it. Yeah. He's going to, he's in a bigger way. He's going to be that. But he's got good people. And I talked to Don Jr., his son, and I said, he didn't have good people around him the first time. And Don admitted, yes, he trusted. I mean, you have to hire like 10,000 people. And he didn't have the best people around him. He admits it. John Bolton is this horrible war hawk that it will have nothing to do with his administration. And I also hope that Pompeo doesn't as well. I'm worried about that because I think he's another guy who's just a war hawk. We got to get out of wars. We need to get people that are not going to be that gung-ho about it. So, I mean, I think it's a good thing he still wants to be liked by the New York Times. He still wants to be loved by that, but he's not going to have to worry about re-election. So I think he's going to worry about his legacy.
Well, yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I just think he has a chance. The American people have spoken, and he has a chance to deliver the things that they asked for.
Yeah.
And if he just did that, and he didn't worry about the headlines, and he didn't worry about the name calling, and didn't feel that he had to destroy everyone who comes after him, he could just do the things that he promised to do. And if he did that, I suspect he would change the course of history. He really would, because not only would he show Americans that this was possible, and he would hand over the presidency to whoever his successor is going to be, because if he delivers on his policies, why would anyone vote for anyone else, right?
Well, exactly right.
And then also, Rob, and this is, for us is important, he could show the entire Western world, you don't have to continue going down this path.
Well, it is a reckless path of this idea of the global elites and a one world government. And we have to maintain, if we continue going down this path, it's, as Douglas Murray says, it's Western civilization committing suicide. I mean, when you have now the majority of people in Brussels, Belgium, that are no longer Belgique, but they're foreign born, you really are. This whole replacement theory is another conspiracy theory that 6 months later, 2 years later, has become fact. So I think it's important that we...
Hang on a sec, Rob, but when we say the replacement theory, what are we actually talking about?
I'm talking about...
Because there's an aspect of it which is like Jews want to replace white people with Muslims in Europe, and that is obviously...
Well, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But that's what some people mean by
Jews
that.
are famously pro-Muslim.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all, Well, you have to be careful with any grandiose statements. You just got to look at the numbers. And I would just say, also... The thing that's unique about this incredible system, I mean, it ain't perfect. I mean, when our founding fathers, when they said they didn't say we joined together to make a perfect system. No, a better one. That's all. They wanted to have a better one. That with the checks and balances. If you read the Federalist Papers, what Madison really wanted to do was to create a system that was hard to subvert into tyranny. And I think he did a pretty good job with it. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. But what we have is our sovereignty. And that was the biggest thing for me. The biggest worry that I had was the Biden administration wanted to give over sovereignty, whether it's to the World Health Organization, which Trump, towards the end of his first run, got us out of that because he saw how it was being run by China and also run by Bill Gates. It was just funding that organization. So, Bill Gates has too much power. It has to be, and we can't have our sovereignty or any nation's sovereignty. We want to keep the individual cultures and what they've developed over hundreds of thousands of years. We want to keep the Gauls French, you know. We want to keep the Swedes. What's happening is, if you're having people come into your society with a spoken plan to subvert your society, you can't bring people into your country who hate you. You can't bring people into your country that want to destroy your country and that will not assimilate. And I will say that the United States seems to be unique in the sense that there's just, I don't know if it's just because there's just so much potential to make money and improve your lives, that it subverts people's religious fervor, and you want to, and you have a chance here to really become successful. And that's why communism never really took a foothold here. And that's what I was worried about with this. With the Democrats, we're moving more towards this Marxist in the name of woke, which all these Trojan horse terms that Andrew Doyle speaks about, it's true. These are, social justice, as Thomas Sowell said, sounds great. But when you open it up, hey, that's grievance, that's revenge. These are people, that's envy. These are people that are angry and that want to, revenge on everybody else. So these Trojan horse terms, but were adopted by the Democrats in an ever wanting to a power grab. And it seemed like they were just punishing the average person. So I think it was important that there was a pushback against that and a real rejection. And I hope we can go back to where these countries will reclaim their sovereignty and hopefully only have people in the United States get subverted to the system and they assimilate. So that's happened so far. And so while it's imperfect and while capitalism also leaves people behind, it does afford one to improve your life and to improve the life of your children. And that's everything. And so communism didn't take over there. However, the Marxists knew that in the West, it was never going to happen. The Marxist revolution was never going to happen. And there were two revolutions from Mao, 1949, but then the Cultural Revolution in 1966. And that was specifically to get rid of the four olds, he called it, which was habits, traditions, culture, and I'm blanking on one more.
Maybe religion?
It's tradition, religion, rituals, and religion for sure. But I think that was pretty much gone by '66. So what the Marxists had to do was to sneak in through education and subvert the society through the education. They've been very successful at that now, through the university and then going up into K through 12. And it really is to cause so much, I think the plan is to cause so much grievance and so much chaos that people, and I think the Democrats are part of this too, were trying to cause so much chaos that they'd be willing to give up their liberties for just some sense of calm.